Alright, so I'm going to try to do this story justice, but Avery said I need to do this. Avery, you got to put a link in the description or something to the podcast. When I was, I think, 9 years old, my brother was 11 or 12, our real father thought to get a visitation with us and wanted to take us to Florida. He had recently moved to Florida. He wanted to take us down there. And he fought my mom in court. He got the right to do it. And I think it was 7 or 8 days he was supposed to take us. And he put us in the back of a Pontiac Firebird and drove us to Florida, just stopping occasionally to sleep at rest areas and stuff. When we got there, I think we were supposed to go to Miami. I'm not really sure what the destination was, but where we ended up was an empty condominium in Fort Lauderdale. And when I say empty, there was a waterbed with no sheets or blankets or pillows, and there was a plastic table and chairs. And he stayed with his girlfriend, Chloe, for one night, and then he bounced. And we were there for 30 days, my brother and I. And there was very little food. There was no, when I say no, I mean there was just this waterbed with no sheets and no pillows and 4 chairs, plastic chairs and a plastic table like you would put outside on your patio. And, we had to fend for ourselves. And at first it wasn't too crazy, but, we were running out of food. We had a loaf of bread. We had like a half a jar of mustard. We had a little bit of grape jelly. We would spend our days like going to, there was a pool in the condominium. And we went to the pool, and after like a week of going to the pool every day, and my brother just rationing the food that we ate, this lady comes up to us as we're leaving. And she like comes up to me and she's like, hey, kind of grabs me by the arms. Well, where are your parents? How come you guys are always here alone, middle of the day? And my brother just slid in between us and was like, hey, he sort of backed up when he got between us with his back to me to get me away from her. And he said, look, our mom doesn't live here and our dad works nights. He's asleep all day. Leave us alone kind of thing. And he just ushered me away. And as soon as we got out of her sight, he said, look, we can't go to the pool no more. We can't take a chance of that lady calling the cops or someone trying to figure out that we're alone. So, we just continued to do whatever we could do. Spent a lot of time in the parking lot. We had one skateboard between us. It was one of those old Nash skateboards. One day, this Japanese lady shows up and she knocks on the door, comes in, and she makes some rice and a stir-fry dish. She doesn't really speak hardly any English. She wouldn't really talk to us. She just told us that our dad had sent us there. And that was like over a week in, maybe 2 weeks. At this point, it's getting kind of crazy. We were sleeping in the living room because it was getting the most moonlight. And one day we're asleep, and we're sleeping on piles of our clothes. And there's a sliding glass door, and we look, and there's just like 4 or 5 people just looking at us through the sliding glass window. Scared the shit out of me. I mean, scared the shit out of me. So that, we moved into a bedroom after that, and then the moonlight came in that window kind of weird, which also scared the shit out of me. You gotta remember, I'm 8 or 9 years old. I'm really young. And I've got my brother, but he's not even a teenager yet. He's 12. This goes on, and then a couple days, maybe a week after the Japanese lady was there, Chloe shows up. And Chloe, she was like, I don't even know how to describe Chloe. She had red hair, super freckled, really petite woman, smoked a lot of cigarettes, and was just an eccentric, weird lady. And her and Jeff, I don't know how long they had been together or whatever. We knew her from Virginia. She comes in and makes this macaroni tuna casserole, which our mom's Italian. We never ate like that. We never ate casserole. And so it was not dope. But I remember sitting down with her and my brother to eat dinner, and she just been being real fucking weird. And finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I said, hey, yo, where is our dad? And why is he not here? And what the fuck's going on? Who's this Japanese lady? Which I don't know Chloe knew about the Japanese lady. Anyway, I'll never forget, she was smoking while she was eating, and sitting next to her was one of those leather cigarette cases that had the little lighter pocket in it. And I'll never forget, she picked up her lighter, she slid it into the holster, and she got over the cigarette hanging out of her mouth and walked out the fucking door without saying a word. After I asked her what was going on, she just bounced. And so we did about 1 more week after that, but we ran out of food, and we were throwing the skateboard up into trees to get coconuts, and we're eating coconuts. And it sucked. I fucking hated it. But that's what we had. And we would drink coconut water, which Not my bag either, out of a coconut. Anyway, so one day, we get some coconuts. It's kind of early in the day. I never forget, man, the heat, like beating down. We're in the parking lot. There was a nice golf course across from us. There was a strip club we could see in the distance. We used to go over there, like peek in the windows and shit. So, like I hold a coconut, my brother hits it with the trucks on the skateboard. So we both got half coconut on a rock. We're, no joke, scraping coconut out of this thing, eating it with a rock. And this sedan pulls up, and this guy's like, "Hey boys," and my brother just reaches over and grabs me by the shirt. We both stand up, and he starts to like push me toward the building. And the guy's like, hey, your grandmother sent me, and he has a picture of my granny. And so we freeze up for a minute. He goes, "Take some money, go to the phone booth, and call your granny." And so he gave us some money. I never forget, my brother made me go into the phone booth with him, put me in, like, this is fucking 1980, 6. That was phone booth. That was some phone booth in the corner of the parking lot, and call Granny. And Granny's like, "Yeah, so that man's gonna bring you to your Aunt Nora's in South Carolina, or we're gonna pick you up in South Carolina. We're gonna go stay with Aunt Nora for the night, and then me and your granddaddy will drive you back to Virginia." Now, my speculation is that they didn't want, at this point, they had to be in contact with Jeff, our real dad. Or my real dad. We found out later, not my brother's real dad, but that's a different chronicle. I guess didn't want to cross state lines for federal law. I don't really know, but this guy takes us to South Carolina. My grandparents pick us up. We spend one night at my Aunt Nora's, have a cookout, get back to Virginia. But when we first got in her car, she turned around and my granddad's driving, and she says, "Boys, are you all okay?" I'll never forget, me and Josh looked at each other, looked at her and went, "Yeah, we're okay." And she never ever asked us about the rest of the time we were gone ever once again in my life. So we go to South Carolina, we have a cookout at my Aunt Nora's, we drive to Virginia. We get to my parents' house, and they live up, we lived up a dirt road in the country, and so my granddad didn't want to take his car up there ever. So we stopped at the edge of the road, and it's like a quarter-mile walk or whatever, maybe less. And so we get our bags out of Granddad's car, we walk up to the house, we go in. My mother says, "All right, boys, come down here and sit down here in the living room." And we sit on the couch. She's standing across from us at the coffee table. "Are you boys okay?" Me and Josh look at each other. "Yeah, we're okay." She's like, "All right, go to your rooms, unpack your bags." And she never asked us about that trip another day in my life, ever. And yeah, so we spent, I think, 30 or 31 days down there. And this is the short version. There's a podcast version of me and my brother telling the whole story, and then there's a part 2 when Jeff dies and we go back to Florida to pick up his ashes, and we talk about that whole scenario. So I'm hoping Avery will put a link in the wherever you put it, and you guys can check that stuff out. But yeah, Florida was a wild ride in 1986.